All right.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Tablelands Regional Council planning meeting for May. Could I remind everyone to turn their devices off or on to silent mode, please? Apologies. Do we have any apologies today? No? Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we meet on today, to pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. Thank you. Item 5. Do we have any declarations of any conflicts of interest by councillors or senior council officers?
Yes, Mr Mayor, I have a conflict of interest in relation to the single matter because I'm aware that before us. I know there's a deputation. I will be leaving the meeting before the deputation.
Okay, thank you. Any other conflicts, councillors? Officers? No? Thank you. Okay, that brings us to item 6 and the deputations. I'll invite Greg English to come up, to the table. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Okay, Greg. We're over to you.
Right. Pardon me. Good morning, Mayor and councillors. The proposed subdivision to be known as Malanda Views Estate on Davies Road has had approval to subdivide since 1995. It has taken nearly 30 years to get a developer that is willing to invest in this project and provide much needed housing land for Malanda. It is no secret that there is a severe shortage of housing supply in the area, with published residential vacancy rates at the lowest levels ever seen. There is a massive shortage of available land in Malanda currently. Green Hills Estate had 37 lots. 11 lots in stage 1 have now been sold. 6 lots of the available 7 have been secured off the plan for stage 2, which should be ready to go in the next 3 months. The remaining 19 lots have been sourced, have been secured with deposits and expressions of interest. Half of this estate lots have been taken up by local families, and contrary to other beliefs, it is not all Cairns and Townsville buyers wanting to move here. This estate has filled a need for the local community. The Malanda Views Estate is badly needed for the future development and prosperity of Malanda. The flow-on effect to the Tablelands is immense, with both jobs, work and economic benefit. The availability of this land will ensure that our children and grandchildren will have the option to live in Malanda in the future and not have to move to other areas of the Tablelands or further afield because of lack of available land and housing. There is a massive shortage of housing. This is causing real problems for people wanting to live here and work here. Also, when businesses looking to extend the workforce, this is very detrimental to the growth of the business. An example of this is Ozcare. The Chamber is acutely aware that this housing shortage is causing severe problems for Ozcare. with the dire need for staff and the inability to attract them because there is no accommodation available. Hard to believe, but that is fact. This situation has a huge knock-on effect to the community, with elderly community residents needing the care and not being able to access this. This is only one example of the problem that it is causing for Malanda. The additional funding with rates and water contribution from this subdivision will also be beneficial to the Tablelands Regional Council. The Malanda community is very aware that the Johnson River water supply is at capacity and near its useful life. The recent water supply strategy in 2020 identifies that if this system is not replaced, there is a risk of failure and boil water notices. Given Council's recent experience in the Ravenshoe area, this is something that the Malanda community wish to avoid. It is clear there is an immediate need to replace this system that we understand currently services approximately 855 existing and committed connections. We understand that the Council are proposing to include in the Capital Works budget for 2023-2024 the replacement of the Davies Road water supply system to maintain the existing connections and to accommodate the anticipated and additional demand. The Chamber requests that when considering this motion, the Council are fully aware of the support for the development, and when asking for a contribution to the water supply, that the contribution is based on the additional demand created by the proposed 140 lots, not on a percentage of the replacement costs of the existing water supply scheme. This is considered to be fair and reasonable approach to the contribution required from the developer. The Chamber also asks that the certainty of water supply security be provided to the Malanda community and the developer that this replacement and upgrade of the water supply will be adopted in the 2023-2024 budget, and that every effort will be made by Council to ensure that the project is delivered in the 2023-2024 financial year. Unfortunately, the timely delivery of necessary infrastructure by Council in recent times has been delayed to the detriment of the community. We ask that the Council give their full support to the developer and come to a reasonable solution without making the whole project unaffordable, unviable and unattractive. The future of Tablelands Regional Council is reliant upon strong communities across the entire Shire, not just one strong township with all the resources. All our towns need to be progressing to provide for our growing region. Please, do not miss this opportunity for Malanda. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Thank you. Okay, councillors, we'll go straight to item 9.1. We have a notice of motion from Councillor Peter Hodge, and the notice of motion that we're dealing with is the one that's up on the screen. It's not the one that was distributed earlier in the week. Councillor Hodge, would you like to move that notice of motion?
That's not the one that I intend to move.
That's not it?
No,
That's the one from the agenda.
yeah, that's the agenda one. There's one after that.
Okay,
I sent out to everyone.
okay. So the process to go from what's been published to what's being proposed.
You need the agreement of the council to accept the new proposal from Councillor Hodge. Mr Mayor, take by a show of hands, I think.
Okay, so Councillor Hodge is proposing a revised motion, draft motion, to the one that was sent out earlier in the week. And can we just bring the revised one up on the screen? So yeah, there's actually four dot points there. There's one a little lower, yep, and 4, yep. So councillor Hodge, would you like to move that be the motion that we discussed this morning?
Yes.
So councillor Hodge is moving that. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Cardew is seconding. Would you like to talk to that? Yep. Talk to the reasons for this one. So all we're deciding at the moment is that's the motion that we're going to talk to. That's all we're trying to determine. We'll vote on that's the motion we deal with.
Right, basically, I'll explain further later on, but basically it's, the.
Sorry, excuse me.
Sorry, just sorry to interrupt, but just as a point, people watching cannot see that motion.
Okay,
And so we need to, if we're discussing amended motions, we should read out the amended motion first so that anybody watching online is able to understand what the discussion is about.
okay. All right, well, I'll read that motion out. So the revised motion that councillor Hodge is proposing this morning states that council resolve that, 1, the applicant's contribution to development costs will be a general infrastructure charge for each lot part of the development in accordance with rezoning deed set at $2,312.72 per lot. A financial contribution towards the upgrade of the Davies Road and Malanda water supply schemes. Water supply contribution. 2, the method of calculation and the supporting documents of the water supply contribution proposed by officers be provided.
From your email yesterday.
Provided to the applicant for their comment. 3, a report be tabled at the council ordinary meeting of 25 May 2023 that sets out the proposed terms of an infrastructure agreement which include but are not limited to the effect of the rezoning deed, the per lot infrastructure charge, the water supply contribution, and payment terms and conditions. And 4, that council notes that the report to be tabled at the council ordinary meeting of 25 May 2023 will recommend approval of a negotiated decision notice for RAL 2022/011 based on reasonable and relevant conditions, and will recommend council delegate authority to the CEO to finalise any and all matters associated with the infrastructure agreement and the water supply contribution on the terms set out in the report. And that's the end of the motion that councillor Hodge is talking to at the moment. So councillor Hodge, I just want you to state your reasons for proposing this motion over the one that's been sent out earlier in the week,
Okay.
so that we can decide that.
Right. The original one had a figure of $500,000 as the contribution. And seeing that the applicant, when I framed that, never had the opportunity to see the way the water supply contribution was calculated, I didn't think it was fair for me, to them and to council, to put a figure in there, and that our officers then meet with the applicant and then negotiate, explain how it's calculated, and then come back to council. That's the basic.
Thanks councillor Hodge. Any questions on councillor Hodge, for councillor Hodge there at the moment, councillors? Okay, so those in favour of dealing with this particular notice of motion from councillor Hodge over the one that was sent out, please raise your hands. Carried? Very good. Thank you. Okay, councillor Hodge, can I have you now move that notice of motion?
I'll move the motion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Kaji. Councillor Hodge.
Thank you. First of all, thanks very much for presenting to council today from Greg. On my way in this morning, I do things a little bit different to other people, but on my way in this morning, I was listening to the radio. Normally have Black Star Radio going, and there was a song being played by Simon and Garfunkel, and it was Bridge Over Troubled Waters. Normally I'd sing it for you all, but it takes about 4 minutes, and I'm that good at it, I'd probably have to pay royalties, so I won't sing it for you. I'll just recite one verse and the chorus, just to prove what this council is to the people. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I am on your side. Oh, when times get tough and friends can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. To the people of Malanda, I am not that bridge. This council is the bridge, the 7 members and our officers. And we are all determined to get this application across the line as soon as possible. So that's why I just had that one verse, just to let you know that we all are on your side. So I'd just like to, since my notice of motion, we have received a significant amount of information from officers as to the cost of the replacement of the Davies Road water supply scheme. This information was not available when I gave notice of my motion and has not been provided to the development or the applicant. We have also heard from the Malanda Chamber of Commerce, who have provided their support for the development and have also identified there is a housing shortage in Malanda and that the level of contribution should not make the project financially unviable. At this stage, what we're aware of is that the applicant and the council officers have arrived at an agreement on conditions of approval, and the applicant and the council agreed on the amount of the general infrastructure charge. The developer and council also accept that a contribution is required to upgrade of the water supply system to service the development. However, whilst we have been provided with the details on how the officers proposed contribution has been calculated, the applicant has not. I am concerned that we could put ourselves in a position where we're asking the developer to enter into an agreement where they don't fully understand what they're agreeing to. To me, this does not seem to be procedurally fair to all involved. On that basis, I propose the new motion. So with that, what I'm hoping to do now is, if this gets approved, our officers will negotiate with the consultants and the applicant and come back with the IA, the infrastructure agreement, and we all know it's an agreement. Everyone has to agree to it, otherwise it doesn't work, it doesn't get signed. So that'll give us another 14 days for our officers to meet with the applicant and consultants. I believe they are meeting tomorrow to begin those discussions. So, Mr. Mayor, that's it for me. I don't need my right of reply. I think I'll just get you to put the vote after everyone's spoken to it. Thank you.
Yep. Councillors? Councillor Talbot.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Can I just ask for if Kelly, as the Deputy Planner, could comment on all this?
Through the chair, I had a discussion with Councillor Hodge yesterday regarding this recommendation. Largely, it's in line with where we've progressed to in terms of negotiations with the applicant to date. So realistically, where we're at is the only outstanding point of agreement was the value of that water supply contribution. And the reason it's been difficult to agree a value at this point in time is we simply haven't had the data to inform that value. We're still not 100% of the way there, but we're getting a lot closer, and I think close enough to probably have a range of values that we could put in an infrastructure agreement to give both council and the applicant enough certainty. The proposed item 4 is effectively what we were proposing to put to council on the 25th of May at the ordinary meeting, is basically recommending support for the negotiated decision notice terms based on discussions with the applicant, and an infrastructure agreement which sets out the payment methodology. Now, I guess it is, in my experience with this council, ordinarily you've got a full infrastructure agreement in front of you, which you are voting on. In the interest of time, I'm not sure we'll be in a position to have a finalised infrastructure agreement in front of council on the 25th of May. And so what this motion is proposing is that we set out the substantive terms. So the most, I guess, controversial of the terms in terms of value, what the payment terms will be, any other reasonable and relevant terms, and then delegate to the Chief Executive Officer to actually finalise the document itself, with all of the other things that go in with an infrastructure agreement.
Thanks very much. Councillors?
Okay, Bruce, the deputation raised one matter that the developer be only asked to contribute to the cost for their subdivision. Would you like to give a little bit of insight into that?
Yes, certainly, and that is the calculation method we're looking at using for the allocation of reasonable cost is exactly that. We're not expecting the developer to pay for any other components other than capacity in the system, the upgrade capacity in the system to supply the 140 lots is what we're looking at.
Yeah, just wanted to make that clear for the public that that's exactly what we're doing. We're not asking them to contribute to anything outside of what they need for their subdivision.
No, absolutely not. And we have a number of options on the table, concept options on the table we're reviewing at the moment to see which is the best option for all involved.
Councillor Billman?
Yeah, excuse me, through the chair. I want to make it very clear that I do support development and that it is appropriate for the community's continued growth. We do know that there's a shortfall, and this proposal will add real value to our community's growth. I'm a little bit concerned about making decisions, financial decisions today, based on the fact that we were going to be provided a report as per item 4 in 2 weeks' time. So I want to be informed about any decision I make when we're talking figures. But not only that, it's important that our public that is interested in this as well are informed. They'll be looking at exactly the same document that council's looking at, so they understand the methodology behind the calculations and what is actually being asked of council to approve. So I think it's very important that any decision from my point of view is not made until in a fortnight's time when that report is deemed to come to council. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Thanks, Councillor Billman. Councillor Wills?
Yeah, thanks very much. Through the chair, yeah, there's absolutely no argument that everybody here wants to see this get over the line and sooner rather than later, but for the fact I can't see the need for the urgency. Just reiterating what Councillor Billman has said, to me, I don't believe we've got all the information. Councillor Hodge gave in his submission, he said that the applicant isn't in possession of the relevant details. The general public certainly aren't. And one of our big things, of course, we have to be transparent. So not only do I believe that I'm not in possession of all the information that I would like, the public certainly aren't. And I really go back to what I said right at the start. I can't see the urgency for this. A report is forthcoming at our next OCM, and for me, unless I can be convinced otherwise here this morning, I want to see a report.
Thanks, Councillor Wills. Councillor Hayden?
Okay, so this subdivision won't be fixing the housing shortage in the near future. The land will be sought mainly from second and third home buyers and not first home buyers. And obviously the homes might be built for another 2 or 3 years, so I don't think it's going to be an immediate solution. And even though I support development, but I'm not going to be supporting this to be moved today. And second, then because it should not be at the cost of all ratepayers. I think some of these developers need to make the correct contributions to their subdivisions.
Thanks very much, Councillor Hayden. Councillors, I'm in agreement with Councillor Bilney here. You know, there are a couple of things. Whenever we make decisions like this, and decisions that involve money and ramifications for council and community, we need to be provided with a report. We will be provided with a detailed report in 2 weeks. So that report is absolutely critical, otherwise councillors can't exercise due diligence. We have no opportunity to fully understand exactly what the implications are. And I'm fully supportive of having negotiations and providing subsidies and all those sorts of things. But let's see it in the form of a report before we make a decision. I mean, the other thing that Councillor Bilney raised was there is no transparency here for community. You know, as councillors, we've seen some emails, we've seen some verbal reports from professional officers during the week, but there's no transparency for the community. So it's my recommendation that we don't make piecemeal decisions. We've got a report coming in a fortnight. It'll be fully detailed. It will deal with all the issues that need to be dealt with. So I can't support the motion. My view is that I think our executive manager of planning said that number 4 of Councillor Hodges' notice of motion is basically what's going to happen next week. That's the critical thing. I think if we support Kelly, I think if as an alternative we supported number 4, that would deliver us what we're seeking at the next meeting. Is that right?
Through the chair, in the event that there is an alternative motion foreshadowed, I've drafted a slightly amended version which amalgamates point 3 and point 4 just to give a bit of context around the report, but generally that's correct.
Okay. So look, but the motion in front of us is the one that's on the screen. So I'll ask for councillors to vote for Councillor Hodges' notice of motion that's on the screen. Those in favour? That's defeated. Kelly, in your professional opinion, do we need to have a motion today to get the outcome we want in a fortnight, or what's?
I can answer it, Mr. Mayor. There's no need for a motion, says anything at this point, unless council wants us to instruct us as to some of the terms, and the report will be brought forward based on our advice.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there being no...
Don't bother going tomorrow.
No further business. The meeting closed.